Hi, everybody. So I wanted to spend just a little time talking a little bit, doing a little shameless plug for like who we are as well, and then talk a little bit about growth. We are a small company here. We were founded in 2015. We're a multi-channel company. So we put together a platform that connects lots of users from different solutions that are like best in breed for e-commerce, particularly like Shopify. Point of sale systems, we work with a bunch of point of sale systems. Lightspeed's an example of one of those. ERP solutions, we work on connecting people with all of those sorts of solutions and really working on scaling people who start in a brick and mortar store and then work their way online, or maybe even are starting online and also want to expand into a physical presence as well. So we used to work with customers that are really like anything from a small mom and pop on into $20 million companies. Those are kind of where our bread and butter customers are right now. So just to talk a little bit about some of those customers here, a couple examples of customers that we work with, just to talk a little bit about, say, Marine Layer. We started with them when they had 3 stores, and they were working on a hosted POS system, and we helped move them to a platform solution for that. And they've now since grown on into 36 stores all across the country. We do some advanced reporting for them and also work with them to get their merchandise as they're shipping stuff from online through a fulfillment center, as well as the reporting that I talked about a little earlier. And so we do a lot of different things for them. Amavert's another company. They actually, I think we helped them go online, and they did about $600,000 on that Black Friday. They're also connected to Nordstrom's through Disco, and through that, we were really working hard on getting them connected, and so that's just a few of the customers that we have. They actually made a lot of their effort through in-store pickup, and also because of that connection through Nordstrom's, they maximize most of their inventory is actually in a warehouse, but occasionally they actually ship from the store if the warehouse doesn't have it too. So we've got to help find where their inventory is and then help them ship that from wherever that is. So really what I wanted to spend most of the time today talking about was planning for growth. So when you start from a small store or even 3 stores and talk about how are we going to get to 36 stores, we spend a lot of our time helping customers figure that out, and why platform selection is really a make or break for that is what we wanted to spend time on today. When we're talking about that with customers, we really try to have customers look at a 3-year outlook. What is your kind of view for yourself in 3 years? And tech is moving fast. That's happening all the time. But you really want to make a commitment to something that's as important as your e-commerce platform. That risk is always going to be there, but there's also the risk of not making a change. So looking at trying to stick around at that for about 3 years, and then you can start making plans from there after you see where growth is. So when we're looking at a platform, we're looking at a couple things. There's 4 platform criteria for us. First is going to be stability, whether it's like a hosted solution. And I was talking with Richard here someplace a little earlier about one of his solutions, kind of the hosted solution versus a platform solution like Shopify's. So with the hosted solutions, oftentimes you run into issues where maybe you have a certain number of page views that can happen in a given time. So if you're really expanding fast, that could end up being a problem for you. Or if there's a problem with your site and you have to try and connect with a developer, that can also be an issue. Because those costs can vary quite a bit with that when you have to reach out to a developer to help manage that particular part of it. Hopefully, John's here tonight and will be on and can talk a little about that. Clicky's one of our clients, our customers as well. So managing that risk by choosing a platform as opposed to a hosted solution. Then we're looking at flexibility and features. So the flexibility, whether it's extensible, whether there are multiple options to solve a solution or solve a problem. Maybe that's a shipping problem that you're having, or Shopify has a great marketplace for lots of apps that you've seen, and custom apps that can be developed, as Tom was talking about just a little earlier. Or not Tom, sorry. Chad was speaking about just a little earlier. And then also looking at whether or not those features are actively being updated and managed. And so Shopify actually spends a lot of time updating those and having a regular schedule for updates for their products. And so even when we're talking about features, like recently Instagram is an option for people who are shipping and searching online to purchase stuff. And a lot of our customers happen to be apparel customers, and so a lot of them have a lot of customers who are interested in looking around at things on Instagram. And so having that as an option that's constantly being working and developed is also important to us. And the last option that we're looking at is cost. No, it's the kind of the final thing that we look at, but it's not the most important part of it. It certainly plays a part in it, but really that predictability about what it's going to cost to run that particular site and the values that are there. That's the really key part about what we're looking for in a platform. So just using an example today of kind of that flexibility, I wanted to use a couple of the folks that are here today. So you might start out with a Shopify store, and you're doing a modest amount of shipping, and you can use the labeling that comes with Shopify. But then as you start to grow, you might find, okay, I need a better solution for that, and then we come to look at maybe, say, ShipStation. So we have a lot of customers who use ShipStation, like that marine layer a little earlier. So that gives you a lot more control, and I'll let the ShipStation folks tell you more about how that really works. But being able to extend beyond the startup part of it in your basic Shopify, using the labels there, then going on and growing a bit more to ShipStation, and then finally also using Flexi. So as you get to really growing big, then you may need a warehousing solution where you need to scale up to a much larger volume. So all of these are available depending on where you are in your plan and that sort of thing. So that's one of those things that we really like about Shopify is that flexibility to be able to grow. So using just one customer example, Moon and Loa, they were one of our very first customers, and shortly after we got them all onboarded and ready to go, they were featured on Oprah. So you can imagine if you get featured on Oprah, you're going to get a lot of traffic. And as it turns out, in that first week, fortunately, they hit $1 million. Not the first week, actually. It was about 4 weeks. They ended up with $1 million in sales. And because they were working on a platform solution, they were able to scale up automatically in terms of all those page views and everything else that was happening so that they could actually take that traffic and continue on. So, yep, $1 million, and that was all on the basic Shopify plan. I don't believe they're still on the basic plan anymore. So that's what I wanted to talk about briefly, just talking about that flexibility, talking about making some time planning for what growth might look like for you, and then some examples of how that might look and how having a platform that gives you that flexibility through and Shopify being the perfect example of that is really important to your business. Any questions? Cool. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.